Good morning, everybody. So we got TikTok on. I got the YouTube we just started. If you guys are in the room, you know, let's talk about our day yesterday, right? So I had to trade a little bit remotely. I was really busy yesterday, actually, and but I wanted to just kind of talk about what we talked about yesterday, right? And so I'm gonna go to the regular hours. Let's talk about our trading day. I left these arrows up. These arrows are what I put into the room. It's what we talked about yesterday, and kind of what I was marking, right? So, we had our potential shoulder, head, and then, like we always talk about, when this shoulder is a little weaker, it actually is a good thing, right? It means it's more bullish. And so I'm going to go to the 2 minute because that's the chart I typically watch. So that's a little more what it looked like. Um, you can see, let's see, right here, 19 hours ago, looks very inverse head and shoulder on the 2 minutes if the shoulder holds, right, which it did. Um, you can see where I was kind of marking it also on the live trader as well. In here, and then we were talking about that. I added, what did I add? It was just before, that's what it was. So you can see just before the inverse head and shoulder even started forming, right? This is about 20 minutes before that. I said it's a big area. Um, yeah, big area of resistance. If we break up again, we're going to 439 again. If we reject, then we're making that lower low at 445.9. And so when I had said that was somewhere in here, right? And so we had rejected back. We created that higher low of the 445, 435.35, right? And then we began to work our way up, and that's when I saw this inverse head and shoulder. And so when we talked about the inverse head and shoulder, right, we saw our shoulder, we saw our head, we saw our weaker shoulder, and it really didn't break up much right here, right? And then it came back for the retest also on the 21, and then that just continued that reversal. So, we got our long call, we had our short call. I mean, indicators absolutely killed it. My only caution I'd say right now is we are in a short call as far as the end of the market, right? It did kind of pop that short call. Now, obviously, if we go to extended, right, we did that have that pump afterwards, right? And so the end of the market sometimes can throw that off, and so you can see the after hours actually bounced off the 200. So this was a good short call, but I always caution people when we're trading the actual live markets, and you take a short call like end of day or something, right? It could play out a good call over hours like this did, right? I mean, you got your drop here, and then flip into a long, and then you come in and market opens, and you're like, man, we're way up here. I thought we had a short call. Well, remember, that a lot can happen in the after hours. So just be careful taking those at the end of the hours. What I would look for today is I would wait for the short call on at least the 2 minute. 1 minute if you want to do some scalping, some really quick scalping, but at least the 2 minute I'd wait for. And then once you get that short call, you'd be cleared to take those. Now, I would also caution the calls up here. Not that we can't go higher. I mean, this was my mark up here, 443.9, that we definitely can get to. But if you look here, all the way back from right here, we've had so far, 1, 2, 3 peaks that are higher highs, and we have 1, 2, 3 that are lower highs. And so that's typically, that means that we're getting a little bit of a sign of weakness. Doesn't mean we're going to crash back down, right? But it does mean, look for the potential resistance areas or bearish type patterns. And so what I like to do is look and see, is there anything significant around this area? So let's when we're looking trend lines, I like to just mute a little bit of the noise. Got an old one back here. Don't need that one. Channel played out though. And so I think I got another one back here. Nope. No, that was a different line. Okay. So let's take a look at this level that we're at right here. So we obviously are finding resistance here at 442. So let's just mark it. Sometimes I'll do this as resistance. And I want to see how strong is this, right? So we do have support here. A little bit of in between there. Didn't even make it for that one. Is there any other significance as we go? If I don't see any, let's go to the 1 hour. And let's take a look. So if you guys remember, I was talking about this yesterday. Part of this larger picture that I'm looking at right here, I said that somewhere in this zone, I would be very careful. This is what I said yesterday. I'd be very careful on taking your puts, right? Because of the fact that we are likely to mimic this side at least. Now, this could just be our bounce, right? And then we move all the way back up to 459. It is possible. But in order for me to believe that this is not a larger head and shoulder forming, right? I need to see it flip this shoulder over here, which is 443.90. So we need to get to 443.90 and we need to flip it because that does a few things. One, if you take this line here, right, and you just kind of touch on these peaks like this, and we'll try to get as many peaks as we can. I'd say about right there. So if it pumps up like this, obviously it's going to take some time, right? And it hits in here. 443.90 is not only the trend line resistance, right? Not only on the 1 hour, the 200 EMA resistance, but it's the resistance of the other shoulder. So my perfect case scenario today of trading would be the market opens, we pump, get up to about that 443.90, and I'm taking a put. The moment I see any confirmation candles, I'm taking that put. Now, if I don't get my confirmation candles, if I don't get my short from my indicators or something, my divergence hunter, then I'm going to look for the potential breakthrough of this. Now, if it, like I said, if it breaks through this and it pumps up, 445.9 or something like that, 446 again for a retest, then I'm going to look for a pullback retest of support. And if this holds as support, we're going up, guys. Like probably in a pretty big way. We're probably going to come up to retest this 459. So this is going to be that crucial level, not only because of the downtrend line, the resistance over here, right, from the other shoulder, but again, when in doubt, let's zoom out and let's see how does this look, right? So you can see this white line, this lower white line, it's only this wick. I moved this again. Let's go to the daily. Let's fix that line. Because I was just thinking, I'm like, that's a little low. And then I just saw there's not a second. Oh, wait. No, we do have a second wick. There it is. I'll say, what is going on? I just couldn't see it on the 1 hour. So you have the wick on this one, the wick on this one. And my anticipation is we're going to hit it again because you have the 200 on the daily. So my thought is we'll come down to retest this for support at some point. It just does, whether if it goes pretty quickly, it'd be 421. I think it won't. I think it'll take some time. And so my anticipation long term is we'll get this shoulder, we'll get this head, we'll create a shoulder, we might drop, maybe create even another shoulder. Then we'll come down and test it around 424, and that's when I'm going to take that call because I think at that point it's going to go absolutely nuts. You can take something simple as like this line like that to that, and then that would be your likely scenario of your next peak, which is 464, 463. But I mean that like I said, it could take time. We're on the daily, so don't get too excited on that and just jump straight into a call because again, in a head and shoulder style pattern, this shoulder can be weaker. So we may not even break, the 442.05 range. We may just reject right out the gate, right? I think we'll get up at least to this 200 EMA, 443.4. So I would say, let the market open. Let's see if we get a little bit of a pullback. Wait to see if it gains support off this 21 around 439.05. Because we're just gonna ping pong, right? So this is a great scalping opportunity. So 439.05 up to 443.54 would be your range to scalp. So we are still on the way up on the RSI on the 1 hour, but we are not quite over bought, but we're getting there. We're at 68, so almost. So that's kind of my play. If you do look at the Bollingers, we were red. We did flip green here on the 1 hour, so that tends to be pretty accurate. You can look back at the history. Each time it flipped green, there was a little more of a run. Before it came down, right? It doesn't mean that it's going to hold forever, but each time that it's flipped green, even right here, right, flip green right there, and then had a nice little run before the fall. So it doesn't mean that it's a reversal. It just means you might get a little more push north, and that's where I think that push up to that 443.9 is going to come from. So, but play your range. So let's talk about Amazon. Apple actually we'll start with. So Apple, I hope some of y'all caught this play. I didn't catch this play. Mike, I will do Meta. Just give me one moment. It's on the next page there. So Apple, if y'all remember, we had held this support. I said that next level was here, 171. It played it. It actually pushed back up to the prior support of 177. It's a crucial area for Apple because what was once support, if it holds as resistance, is going to be a big drop. But however, if it can reclaim this support, right, it's going to squeeze this 200 EMA on the 1 hour, and that's going to give a big pop. So big area of for Apple for the day. So that 177 I would just watch. I would take my put scalps off of it if it remains below it. If it gets above the 177 and comes back for support, then I would take my calls. So Google, I'll probably hold these lines, I guess, for a little bit longer, but we had these lines that we were following forever in our trade scalping. We broke it. Now we're in the midst of retesting it. On the 1 hour, you can see we have the 200 that's struggling. That's where it's having trouble breaking. We did get that bullish divergence call that we had mentioned here, and so far that played out, a little bit. We did get kind of a double bottom touch here as well, so I would suspect maybe a pullback for a retest, and then we probably have some more upside for this one. But keep in mind with Google, we are still kind of on a little cliff here, right? And so this was the line that we drew for our low for Google. So I do think at some point, we may push back up to 132 or so, but I think at some point we're coming down to this 119. So be very cautious on your calls. Microsoft we'll touch on briefly. Microsoft's kind of been in this squeeze. I mean, I can see the high 327.70. If we flip that, I'd say 328. If we flip 328, you can take a nice little call scalp up to that 351 area, and that would kind of create this peak, larger peak, or retest, come up, probably somewhere on this side or this side, right? So anywhere around like 437, 435, I would trail that pretty tight. But we do have room to drop. So if we reject off this 21 right here, I don't know that this line was viable for that rejection, but if we reject off the 21 SMA around 327, then we're going to push down to this 200, which is pretty much 300 for Microsoft. That was the daily actually too, so let me look at the hour. Yeah, the hour you can see we're a little bit overbought. Hasn't flipped red yet though, but Microsoft might pop, but it's gonna need a cool off period. Amazon, so this was kind of the channel that we were following. I'm just gonna delete this channel because it doesn't seem as viable. Well, let's see. If we take it from this peak or this low here and we line that up, that's actually more in line, right? And it explains that pump right there. This one, let's just try to capture just some kind of a top, right, where it might reject. So we're kind of in the middle of this range here. Again, this Amazon's fighting the 1 hour 200 EMA as well, and so it's in that squeeze. If it can flip it north, right, then you can get a nice little run up to about 139, but I would expect a rejection somewhere around there. If we cannot flip this and we flip the 21 below, then we're just going to come back down to 131 for that retest. All right, let me jump into Meta. Hopefully you're still around. I haven't done Meta in a bit. As you see, my lines are still here. So we were following this channel, I know, with Meta, and then we had a collapse with all the news and stuff. Meta found support here, which is not surprising because if you, you can see our indicator caught the short, the long, the short, and it actually caught this long so far. So our indicator actually nailed this, but let me mute this one, the harmonic, just so we can see the trends. So if I were to capture the bounce on Meta, I would have marked this area anyways, and this is because you have resistance and you have support. So what was once resistance turned support, we ran up. Obviously, that's going to likely be tested as our first level of support. So where it can go from here, I would probably say I would extend this line out here for your resistance. This one I'm going to delete. And then I would be really careful taking calls on Meta. Right now, if you caught it down off this pump, that's awesome. But one, you're getting in, you're pretty much overbought here, slightly. A little room that you could go, but it's getting to that overbought territory. Plus, it's getting really close to this downtrend line. Now, downtrend lines are meant to be broken, right? So as we squeeze this support, it's going to do this, and it could pop, right, like that. We do have our bullish gap fill calling on this, so that's saying that we're not quite done with the run up, right? That we might have a little more room. So you may see us push north, flip this here, hit the POC, right, and then drop back down for that retest. Is what I would watch for Meta on that. Yeah, so I have been extremely busy. I haven't even looked at the earnings stuff, so I have no answer for that one. I'm just putting through the TA of that, but I'll look at that today. I had literally back to back stuff yesterday. It was so ridiculous. And as y'all maybe see my TikTok, I was still moving. So, but I got my storages pretty much complete, so that's exciting. Tesla, look at this. Let's look at it just because you see here. Remember we talked about Tesla when it was down here. This was Friday. I said I'd be really careful taking puts because we already kind of played out here, right? And whenever you have this big of a push and a big rejection like this tends to act as, remember what was resistance is now support. And so you can see there it acted as support. So that's what we talked about both yesterday and yesterday it was like right there. So yesterday had a big day. So I hope y'all got that on the calls. Now where Tesla's going to go from here? If we can hold above this 200 on the 1 hour, I could see not only the 200 really, it's got to hold this 238.40 today, because this was support. So if it can hold it as support again and flip the 200 EMA, it's going to have a pretty good run. I would say at least up to this 253 area. However, we are extremely overbought. Like we're actually almost 80. I think I would actually call that 80. So I would suspect mark it up and it might push up a little bit, but we need a little bit of a cool off period and before it gets that next pop. So let's extend this one down here because it's going to change that trajectory. Yeah, see, if you extend it like that, that's what I was looking for. See how that lined up. So not only do we have this resistance turn support, but we have this trend line. So it was a pretty easy read there. It's been pumping, but I don't want my face ripped off. Nvidia, what I read, I think it was last week, is that the anticipation for Nvidia was bullish. But yeah, after that last move, man, that thing just went nuts. Let's look at Nvidia from a technical standpoint. I mean, you can tell Nvidia's already ran. So on the 1 hour here, I mean, it's just been nonstop tear. Yeah, I didn't play Nvidia this time. I caught a little bit of the last one, but and I know CK made it big, so he might have played this one. I don't know, but I know the report earnings were anticipated to be bullish, so and you can tell that's playing out. But my thing is, if you caught this pump, I mean, our indicator caught the long from the bullish news as well. Great, but keep in mind you're way overbought. You're like 80. It actually hit like 86. And then look at here, right? So you can draw a line like this. Yeah, that's wild. So I'm noticing. So you can draw a line off of here, right? So it basically, if it can hold 481 as resistance, you know, if it loses that and it acts as resistance, then it's just going back down. But let's see what we can see. So I was marking these two peaks here. On the daily, we had it hit called a nice long here, and it actually flipped as a short, but that could have already played out because that was a 464 short all the way down to 406, right? Yeah, I would say if you've already entered the long, then awesome. But if you have not entered it, you may want to wait for that rejection, you know, because what goes up goes down. You know, I get that so many times. People like, oh man, you know, it's pumping. Like the report was bullish. I want to jump in. I feel like I'm missing out. No, that's awesome. But you know, if you jump in too late, you end up being the guy that, you know, bought right here, right, and then just gets absolutely decimated in your contracts. So, but yeah, it's interesting. I would probably say I'm gonna delete some of these lines. Let's delete that one. Let's mute this harmonic one just to get a little better visual. So I don't like this one either. All right, so this one should have been up here. Let's lock it because I likely moved it while dragging my screen, and that would have, you know, from this wick. So that would have told you easily this was a good play. As far as the high goes, I would probably say let's just clean up these lines here. If the news were to go crazy and you want to find like a really good safe bet put, I would take something like this, like that. And if you do get a pop, anything around like up here, right, which would be a crazy run, but it's possible it did it before, right, up to 520, 525, then I'll just ride that train back down if it happens to pop up there. I am not profitable with those indicators. Okay, that makes sense. I love when people randomly pop on and say what I am or are not profitable, especially people that are not even in the room. But okay, whatever works for you, man. I don't ever look. Those who follow me a long time, you guys know. If you guys are profitable with the free ones, man, more power to you. But our indicators do well. So I literally, that's all I trade with is our indicators, and they have not failed me. All right, let's jump into the dollar. It's still holding this yellow line like we've been talking about pretty much last week and this week. You know, we had said we're likely to squeeze in between the 200 EMA and the line here. I don't know. You know, this is where I think maybe the continued pump could happen in the markets, is because not only the NVIDIA stuff, you know, catapulting it through some of those resistance levels, but you have the dollar in this squeeze, and I don't know that it's got enough juice to break this. So, and if it does collapse back down into this range here, that's going to give us enough push that we need to pump up. So, Bitcoin, I hadn't really watched. Yeah, no problem, Will. So Bitcoin, y'all know my low still here. It's not really doing much. My low still is 20,500. I just think it could take. I mean, it could be, you know, November before we see that. But again, that's all. You know, we got to flip this 25.2 in order that happen, because this has to become resistance again. Right now, it's still support. So as long as this holds as support and it continues to hold for a length of time, you're going to get an explosion north. I mean, we're still way oversold on the daily. It's like 19. So I think there could be a pop coming up north in the crypto market. But as far as how I would play it, if you I would go to my 1 hour. Let's see what that's been doing. Pretty sideways. You know what I don't like about this is I've seen this so many times where you have your fall, you know, kind of goes sideways for a little bit, and then you have another fall sideways a little bit, right, and then another fall through. This area here I know is going to be pretty key on the 1 hour, which is 27,100. If it can hold enough support here to get a pop above that, then it'll flip and keep on going. Would be the play. So I would not, for me, I would only take longs on Bitcoin, but I would set stop losses below that, 25-2 range. I wouldn't go too much deeper because if it breaks this level, I mean, it's going down to 20 over time, probably pretty quick. But if it can retain, like when I say to stay long, that doesn't mean, I get this message sometimes, people, I took a long, like you said. It doesn't mean just jump into a long right now, guys. That means that wait for a wick pullback down into here or into here, and then scalp your long up, right? You always want to catch the pullbacks. Don't catch the peaks, hoping to catch the run. It might work for you sometimes, but you're also going to get wrecked at times too. So on the ATA, we did take the put, take the call, and then we did get one stop out yesterday on this put. Right towards the end of the market. I actually, when I called this inverse head and shoulder, I meant to try to pause this one, but I didn't get to it in time. So we did take it. So let's go ahead and see where we want to go from here. I'm just going to let's see. Let's open up these. Let's delete the alerts. Okay. All right, and then now let's just change the settings. So we're just gonna do, we can still do, let's just do 2 days, that's fine. Call, parabolic SARs, because we're not gonna keep them in very long anyways. Let's trade till about 2 o'clock. No DCAs, stop loss, and let's do 22. Mike, I already did the SPY. I can redo it here in a minute. Just let me get this. Yeah, this is the unless you're asking what my chart is. Our ATA actually, our automated trading. We call it an automated trading assistant. Trades on the SPY. Yes. For options. Okay, so call SPY taste trade. So I want to make sure it's all right. Okay. We did do the date right. Yeah, 22. Okay. Alright, and then let's take a look at the puts. Put 2 day, we're going to do 2 o'clock. These are all settings, guys. I'm setting up the copy trade thing, but y'all can do this on your own charts too. So if you're familiar with trading at all, you can do all this stuff on your own. I'm running the parabolic SARs. I'm going to be a little less aggressive as well. I want to see where the market hits on those resistance levels. But if y'all have a higher risk tolerance, you want to be more aggressive, you can run this too. So let's create the alerts. I'm going to make sure that they both create here. Sometimes when making that first alert, it takes a minute. So that's why I always double check, because I had one time I set my alerts and I actually save the chart, close it all out, and it never created my alert. So I always like to double check. There it goes. So depending on the traffic, TradingView is seeing, can depend how long it takes to create that alert. So we got our call, which was the first one we did. So man, this one's definitely delayed. So, but I don't want to close anything until it's there. So while that's doing that, let's go to the next page. So this was my live trader. So I had set it to continuously trade those ranges, and you can see I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 good trades, and then you had this stop loss. So if y'all remember, I think it was up in here. I can't remember where I put it. Right here. Talked about the automation, right? And then I talked about the inverse head and shoulder. So I had actually stopped it. So I did not take this one, and I did not take the loss, and I did not take that call. I had paused it. So I took this one. I took this one, which was good. This one ended up a nice TP3 on this one. Actually, I think I got wicked out on TP2 right here. But it was still a great trade. This one also got TP2, so we got 2 puts on TP2, and then we got a call that I did here that was TP1. So good trade. You can see I even marked it here. I was monitoring. So that was my live trader setup. So I'm going to adjust this here. Let's talk about the range that we're at. So we were kind of following this line here that didn't. It's not really viable anymore. Pre-market, we're up here. So let's take a look and see how we want to play this range. I'm gonna extend this up a little bit. Not sure that I like that one anymore, but let's see. All right, so I'm gonna take this green one out. And we're gonna hold, this resistance line has now flipped to green. I'm gonna take this white one out. I'm gonna take this white one out. I'm gonna mute these so we can see it a little easier. And so every time I do live trader or the ATAs, I'm always just trying to find my range, right? So I have my lower. Now I need to find my middle, like, you know, something I'm good with. So let's go to the 5 minutes, see if we can find a nice middle in here. I think a good middle could be around here. Let's mark this. And this is because why I'm doing this area is because we do have support right here. We had resistance right there, little resistance there, and then obviously the first level of resistance there before the market closed. So now I want to see where's our ceiling possibly today. Could get to 443. Yeah, I think I'm gonna push it a little higher. Let's just take it off this peak, and it's a little higher than the other day, but we're a little bit above that range, right? So it's not too far away. Let's see if there's anything else. So what I want to look for is there a downtrend line that would also correlate that? So that one's a little bit high. So let's take this one a little bit high. Let's show you. I'm just trying to find is there an area of the downtrend line of what as well that would lock in with it. So let's take that one right there. So we know we're going to open up somewhere around here, right? So if we do break this, this could be a pretty good first resistance. So we can do one put, I would say at like 442.50. So let's do this one here at 442.50. And I'm only going to do 2 contract days. We'll keep it at 5. I'll trade right at market open. I'm fine with that. I'm going to let that continue to take that range. And I'm going to have a stop loss of probably 0.3. Yeah. Okay. That should be good. So we got that range from the upper. Now, where would we want to take our put continuation if we fall again, right? Obviously, we would want to take it below this white line, possibly even below the green here. I think if we took it like 430, I think 439, like 75 should be okay if we want to be a little more aggressive on it. 439.75. It looks like I would have already put it in. Oh, that's because of the date there. Never. If you see this, it's because I didn't move the date yet. I just moved it. All right, 2 contracts. Stop loss is in there. Okay, so that's our range. So basically what I did is I set up the automation to where if it comes up around the 443 range and then rejects, it's going to enter me in a put around 442.55. However, if it market opens and pulls back down to the 439, I think 0.7 or so I put was it will enter me in a put. So that's my upper and lower range for the puts. For the calls, let's do our lower range. I think a call off this white line would be okay. So 440, let's go a little bit above. So 440.5, we'll say. 440.5. 22, 2 contracts. There you go. And then my continuation call, if it were to just run, I would not want to take a call continuation unless it flipped this, to be honest with you, because then I can take that call from there to there. So I'll probably set this like 443.60. Looks like a good number. 443.60. So you can see now that the indicators are on my chart and they're set up, it doesn't take very long. I mean, I've did this in what, 5 minutes? I've set up my entire day. So now I have that all set up, done. Now the automation will take over. So my game plan in a nutshell is, if the pre-market open drops, comes down on this white line and finds support, it'll enter me into a call, take a nice little scalp. If the pre-market happens to pump and it rejects off of 443, it will take me into that put. If it happens to break 443 up into the 443.70, then it will enter a call. And if it happens to break this white line around 439.70, I'll take a nice little put scalp. I normally like to have it below the green line here because it could create a higher low like that, but I'm going to watch that one. We'll see. I may stop that one, but yeah, you should have John. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure we added the indicator to it. You might have to save it and close the layout and reload it. But I'll double check. I'll double check right now. Actually, I can do it. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll end the session. I'll stay on TikTok. So, but that's pretty much what we got, guys, for the YouTube side, the community side. I know I'm about 10 minutes over. It's a lot more information to go through. So I'm going to end that here. We will open up the room. I will be trading a little bit today till about 11:30.